Arkadaşlar, herkese selamlar. Geçen biliyorsunuz Scientology Kilisesi'ne girip röportaj için izin istemiştim. Beni bayağı dolaştırdılar, bilgilendirdiler ve şu anda beni bekliyorlar kilisenin önünde. Betsy, how are you, Betsy?
I'm good.
All good?
Yeah.
Nice to see you again.
It's good to see you too. This
Yes.
is actually really exciting.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've never been part of a travel video thing.
Yeah?
So this is really exciting. I've never been able to be part of a travel video, so this is really cool.
That's going to be cool, yes.
Yeah.
I'm also curious.
Yeah.
And probably my followers are also very curious.
Yeah, I hope so.
So we are at the entrance of this church.
Yeah, this is
Scientology Church.
Church of Scientology, Los
Yeah.
Angeles. We've been here since actually the first Church of Scientology ever, the one here in Los Angeles. Not this building, but the first one was established in 1952.
So, how old is the building? 1952, you said.
That was the first Church of Scientology in LA.
Okay.
This building actually used to be the Cedars of Lebanon Hospital.
Okay, yeah.
And then they moved to different premises, and so then the church purchased it, and then we renovated it, obviously. And then this is Janet, one of my
Janet.
co-workers.
I know. How are you, Janet?
Hi, good to see you.
Nice to see you again.
Okay.
Very nice to see you. And very kind of you both welcoming me here.
Yeah.
And can you tell me the story of this payment? It's also very interesting.
Absolutely. I don't know if you can see the bricks from here.
Yeah.
But basically, we wanted to create a really beautiful, a beautiful street for the community. So it's like a walking, ultimately we love it to be a walking street. But right now what we did is we wanted to change it from just a normal paved street with the power lines to something that everyone can come down and just enjoy. So 25 years ago, basically tore up all the asphalt, and then members of our church and volunteers came out and they actually laid all of these bricks by hand. And we buried all of the power lines, so you can see it's just beautiful. We have all the trees and flowers, and people can just literally come and hang out on the benches and walk.
I saw the photos of you have celebrations here.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
25 years ago, and it looks like brand new.
Brand new, doesn't it? The city council voted to rename the street, which was Brando Street, to L. Ron Hubbard Way.
Yeah, this is the L. Ron Hubbard Way, or
this whole brick
street.
street is L. Ron Hubbard Way.
He's the founder of Scientology as well.
That's right.
It's perfect. Now we are at the entrance of the Scientology reception area of Scientology Church.
This is our reception.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and you?
All good? Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, so anyone who's curious about Scientology, this is where they come in.
Yes, anybody is welcome, right?
Yes, everyone.
Everyone is welcome.
All
They can come.
religions,
Yeah.
Yes.
any beliefs.
Yeah, anyone.
It's fun.
All ages.
It's nice, yes.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to show you, there's a quote on the wall here.
Okay.
I know one of the things we'll talk about later is what the aims of Scientology are, but this is actually the aims stated by our founder, L. Ron Hubbard.
A civilization without insanity, without criminals, and without war, where the able can prosper and honest beings can have rights, and where man is free to rise the greater heights, and are the aims of Scientology, John L. Hubbard. So he's John L. Hubbard, right?
L. Ron Hubbard, yes.
L. Ron Hubbard.
It's okay.
It's too hard. He's the new chairman?
Yeah, this is Mr. David Miscavige.
Okay.
He's the chairman of the board. He is the ecclesiastical leader of our church.
Okay, he's the leader of the church right
Of
now.
Scientology, yes.
Were they friends? Any relations? Yeah.
He actually worked with Mr. Hubbard from probably his early 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know all of the history, but obviously then he was chosen by Mr. Hubbard to become the leader of the church when Mr. Hubbard passed. And,
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's nice. I think I read about him.
Yeah.
As well, but
There's a whole website just explaining who David Miscavige is and his history and what he's done for the church.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, so, a lot of people, as I mentioned, are curious. What is Scientology? A lot of people have heard it. So one of the things that we very much offer and encourage is people should come and find out for themselves. Because you can't just hear what people say or what you might see on the news.
Or they can watch my vlog.
They can watch your vlog, exactly. But Mr. Hubbard wrote a lot of books, which you can see here. And one of the first, actually the first book he wrote is this one. It's Dianetics.
Okay.
This one's in Spanish. But this is translated into over 50 languages.
Okay, I think there is also in Turkish.
Yeah, it is in Turkish actually.
Yeah. I'll read it when I get to Turkey.
So, well, that's a Russian one.
Russian.
But it's actually amazing because Los Angeles is so international, and we get visitors here from literally everywhere. So it's really nice to be able to, if they're interested, we can actually offer it in their language. They don't be fluent in English.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's great. But this is the first book that he wrote. Dianetics is...
It's better to read in your own language because it can be some complicated words in it.
Absolutely.
So this is the first book. Is this kind of a holy book, right? Is this kind of a holy book for this religion, or...?
Oh, I see. Okay, so we consider all of the writings of L. Ron Hubbard and his recorded lectures as our scriptures.
Okay.
And so those are the things that we study and learn in the practice of Scientology. Dianetics was the first book that he wrote. It was published in 1950. And this is kind of what started everything. Obviously,
this book
predates Scientology. And what he was trying to figure out is really what's happening with men, like men and women, obviously we're talking mankind.
Yeah,
but like people are trying to survive and do well and succeed, but then they run into stumbling blocks. They have problems they don't know how to overcome. They get depressed. They have conflicts that they can't control. So we wanted to find out, like, why is that and what causes it? Anyway, so he basically did a lot of research to find out, like, what's going on. And so that's what resulted in Dianetics. It's actually a mental science, and it includes a therapy that a person can do to actually remove any of the negative things that are in their mind, past negative experiences, accidents, things that are still affecting a person in the present, so that all of that negativity, toxicity can be gone, and they can actually be living fully in the present, fully themselves, not affected by bad things that may have happened to them in the past, and it basically frees someone up to be able to live successfully and happily. So what Dianetics is a book that delineates that and how it works, and it actually teaches you how to do the therapy so you can join up with another person and actually help each other.
What does Dianetics mean? Does it have
it does actually. Dianetics, dia means through, and nous means the mind, in terms of its etymology. So it means through the mind. Okay, through the mind of the human. So does this volcano represent anything? No.
No? Okay, just...
You know, if anything, I would say that when Dianetics first was published, it was very explosive.
Yeah. So,
but
it's one of the best sellers, right? Also,
it is. It is the best-selling book on the mind.
On the mind.
Stays on the New York Times bestseller list.
Perfect. So where are we?
So this is our Public Information Center.
Okay.
As I mentioned before, a lot of people are really curious about Scientology, what it is, what we believe in, what we do. And so this whole area here that we're going to walk through is the Public Information Center. So people can come in here and actually watch videos and check out books and things like that to find out what is Scientology all about. I watched with you like last week, and he was a traveler as well, explorer. That's what I liked about it. And he was in so many different countries. One of the really amazing things, because he was born in 1911.
Yes.
So travel at that time was on boats.
Before the First World War, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His father, though, was a naval officer, and so that gave him opportunities to travel. And he traveled both in the United States as well as abroad to Asia. So in terms of, a young man from that time period, he's incredibly well-traveled.
For this time it was very difficult.
Yeah.
Not like I do now. Tomorrow I'm flying to Japan. It's so easy. It's like 11 hours, then I'm in another continent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those days must be very difficult. Also the medication and stuff like this, because he was in Guyana, a lot of malaria, yellow fever, stuff like this.
It was very interesting.
Very difficult, I can imagine.
one of the very cool things about him is he also got very involved no matter where he was. He would always like meet the local cultures, learn their language, interact with them, learn what was important to them and what was important to their beliefs. Is very.
That's the best way of traveling. I do the same. I try to learn the languages.
I saw on your videos online.
I love to learn, because when you learn another language, you begin to think like them, and it's another world, opens another world. Like when you talk Spanish with South Americans, it's different. You feel different. You feel like you feel happier. I don't know. It's like
no, I understand completely.
The languages are very, very important.
Absolutely. So as you can see, we have different displays. We generally recommend if somebody comes into a church that they start with the display on L. Ron Hubbard, just so they learn like what kind of man would actually begin a religion in the 20th century. So, in addition to all of his traveling and all of the, fun things that he did, like flying and going on ships and stuff, we were talking about like he visited all these cultures and different people in different languages, and so he had such a worldview that then anytime he came to an area and he saw discrimination or things that didn't make sense, human rights violations, really, what we call them today, is like, this doesn't make sense. And so he really wanted to find a solution to the problems that mankind faced. And that was kind of what then drove him to then write Dianetics and then found the Scientology religion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said he founded the religion.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So does this make him a prophet? Like Jesus Christ? Or?
Yeah, I definitely understand your question.
Yes.
And there are many prophets, absolutely. Jesus Christ, Moses, etc. L. Ron Hubbard said, I'm not a prophet, I'm not God. He says, I'm just a man. And he actually wanted that to be made very clear, because in Scientology, we don't worship him. He did obviously write many, many books and leave a lot of teachings. But what he really focused on was that individuals have to look and they have to learn, and that's how they will actually grow spiritually. And so he said, I'm not a prophet. Like, he's not getting the word of God through him and then coming. He basically worked out what we call spiritual technology.
It sounds to me like kind of a Buddhism, but technological Buddhism. It's like a New Age Buddhism. It sounds like, because Buddha wasn't a prophet.
Correct.
But he brought a philosophy. He was a kind of a holy person, but not a prophet. But he had teachings. Mm-hmm. So
very similar.
Yes,
that's a very good analogy.
Yes, is this like something like this, like a Buddha? Maybe I can say. I don't want to compare because it's not to be compared.
Two different people. Right?
Yeah, of course.
But
two
very
different
similar
philosophy as well. But like what you're telling me sounds like it's like a New Age or like technological, or some kind of a millennium Buddhism, we can say.
Sure.
Yes.
One thing I can tell you, and since we bring up this word technology, and usually we think of that in more of like a science, mathematics kind of computers technology. So what Mr. Hubbard looked at was like, can you take like the precision of science, but apply it to an individual to actually help them better themselves? Can you figure out a way to do it so that you get positive results and the people really are helped? And so that was what he did, and that's, once you read Dianetics, you mentioned you were going to check it out.
Yeah.
You'll see how he worked that out.
Of course.
And that's what we call Scientology, as a applied religious philosophy or a scientific methodology that you can actually apply in your life.
I'll edit everything after I read whole.
Totally.
Because if I don't know anything, I wouldn't publish anything about this religion.
Sure.
So I will definitely learn more.
Yeah.
I'll be reading online as well a lot.
There's so much
you
can read. There is.
Yes, we'll see the library and we will understand.
Yeah.
This is my favorite place.
Yeah, so this is the famous e-meter.
Yes.
Which I know a lot of people are very interested, like, what is this thing and how does it work? First of all, I'll just say straight off, it is not a lie detector. So this is not
a lie detector?
Not a lie detector.
Okay.
But what it does is it's actually a tool used in our spiritual counseling to help a person find areas of spiritual travail. Because sometimes you know what they are. Like, you've had, maybe somebody died in your family, or maybe you were in a bad accident. But sometimes you're depressed and you don't know why. You're unhappy and you don't know why. And so with the Scientology counseling, this is actually a tool that will help the counselor help the person find those areas and what's actually behind those negative feelings that are holding them down and holding them back. And all it does, when you do the counseling, a person would hold the cans like this, that's receiving the counseling, and it puts like a very, very small flow of electricity, like the size of a watch battery. Like you don't feel anything. It's a little tricky to do on yourself, but I'll see if I can.
You can try on me. You can also try.
Yeah?
Is it? Are you sure it's not a lie detector?
Totally positive.
I'll bring the Turkish politicians. Then it's gonna blow, you know, if it is a lie detector.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm holding.
Okay, so you want to hold it in a relaxed grip.
Okay.
So it's just comfortable. Like you're not gripping, you're just like relaxed.
Okay.
Okay, so the way that it works, I was mentioning, it sends like a very small electrical current through, like the size of a watch battery. So you can't feel any electricity, right? No. Okay, so then it basically, if you have any kind of like trauma or maybe upset or something like that has happened to you.
I have many.
Okay, so here we'll do one. What I want you to do is watch the needle when I ask you this question.
Okay.
So think of something that is upsetting you right now. Okay, do you have a thought about something? Not really so much yet.
Not yet. I'm thinking. Just
No problem.
I'm going.
We can do this a different way.
Okay.
Okay. So here, we're going to do this one as a different one. We'll do the
Pinching.
pinch. We'll do
Okay,
pinching.
pinching.
Okay, good. See, he doesn't have any stress. We're going to create a little stress.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm quite relaxed.
Which is awesome.
You can just pinch it hard. Last time we didn't pinch hard.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this will be an example of, like, say someone has a physical injury, like you're in a car accident, or worse, you get like shot or something. Who knows? Something
If you do it hard, I will sue you. Like, pinch me in Scientology. I want $1 million. I can't take it over. No, it's okay.
Okay, cool. So how that works, like if you get injured or something, there's actually mental charge that will be recorded long after your body heals. So I'm going to pinch you, and we'll see the needle will move.
Hard.
No,
Hard.
I'm going there. Okay. So you see I have a little drop in it. Okay. So now I want you to do is to recall the moment I pinched you. Okay. So you see how the needle went that way a little bit? So that was us. That was the meter just showing us that there was a moment of pain.
The problem with Turks, we are so used to the pain. It's like our normal life, you know.
It's like normal.
It's like normal.
Yeah.
We don't feel it. You have to, you have a shuffle and hit me in the head. Maybe I will feel it for a little bit.
Yeah, and that's awesome, know. And as you know, obviously some people have a harder time with it, know. So all that this does is help the counselor locate areas like that, because sometimes the person is aware of them and sometimes they're not.
Yeah, of course.
But you have to find those and help a person resolve that.
From this, we can go to a point. You think psychiatry is
Not good.
Not good.
No.
Okay, this is because connected to this subject, right?
Yeah, and I'll explain it a little bit. With the Scientology counseling and with the Dianetics counseling, we're really looking at finding what's the actual root cause of the problems a person's having. Like we mentioned earlier, someone's depressed, they don't know why. Well, what if we can actually find the actual reason that they are? And then you handle that, you get rid of that. Now a person's not going to be depressed anymore. If you compare that with what psychiatry is doing, somebody comes in, they're depressed, they're going to receive one or more prescriptions for medications that are very, very strong and will actually chemically change their body irrevocably. Or they may be prescribed psychiatric shock treatment.
In Turkey we don't have it.
I'm very glad.
But here still, like, they give you electric shock in the brain?
Yes.
Seriously?
They're doing it to children.
Oh.
I'm not kidding you.
I'm not sure if... I never heard about this in Turkey. Probably we don't have it. But you can buy antidepressants in Turkey without prescription in Turkey easily.
Wow.
Easily you can. I mean, in Mexico too you can buy.
I mean, I'm sure you can buy pretty much anything on the black market one way or another, but or maybe it's legal there, I don't know.
Oh, it's legal in Turkey, yes.
Yeah. But the point of it is like we don't want to just throw drugs at something, the other thing that is very dangerous about the psychiatric drugs is different people's bodies metabolize them differently. So someone could take one of those drugs and it could cause awful side effects, everything from they get more depressed all the way to they could become violent. Here in the US, we have multiple different school shootings, for example. Every single person that has committed one of those has been on a psychiatric drug or recently stopped taking it and is in a withdrawal. And every one of those drugs has the side effects of violent behavior, suicidal tendencies, etc. And you can actually show it with evidence. So we're very much against any kind of use of those types of drugs and that type of practice. Mental health is very important.
You count it as like narcotic drugs, antidepressants?
I mean, a lot of them are stronger than some of the narcotics, in all honesty, Yes. So we're like, no, let's make sure the person's nutrition is in. Let's make sure they don't have anything actually physically wrong. Because I'll give you another example. If somebody's low in B vitamins, they can act a little nuts.
Oh, like in Islam, there is like pork is forbidden, or Judaism or Islam, or alcohol is forbidden. Do you have any forbidden fruits, forbidden food, forbidden alcohol maybe? So is it like strictly forbidden? I'm not saying like you shouldn't be drunk, but like alcohol is forbidden, or eating, I don't know, cow is forbidden, or just a question. Just
I have to say, I love hamburgers. So a good steak. So honestly, in terms of anything forbidden, we don't have like a you can't do this, can't do that. You know, if someone would like to have alcohol, say do it in moderation. Also, if you're going to be coming to a church to take a class here and study or receive the spiritual counseling, you need to not drink 24 hours before you come to do those activities, simply because the body has to finish metabolizing it. Because as we all know, you drink alcohol, it does affect you physically. So you want to have that all the way gone before you're going to come and do spiritual studies or things like that.
Definitely against all the drugs. Yes,
definitely.
Not like.
But I will say we're not against medical drugs. Like if you have a medical,
if you have cancer or stuff like that,
or you need blood pressure medication, or you need whatever, absolutely, you go to a doctor if you need to go to a doctor.
I'm just saying the drugs like.
Or the psychiatric drugs, definitely not.
Yes, and the drugs.
The street drugs.
Street drugs, you call it? Okay.
However, like your marijuana, all of these things affect.
What is this homeless people using here? It's like
everything.
Everything?
Yeah.
But they go like, I was filming and they go opioids or
opioids. It's painkillers.
Is it? I don't know. So they go really bad with it.
They do. The one we're having a hard time with right now really is fentanyl. It's a very, very strong painkiller. It's like 50 times stronger than heroin.
Sure.
Very, very addictive.
Yeah.
And the problem with it is it's so strong that if you take too much, you will die of an overdose. And right now we have the Narcan, which is something you could give someone who's overdosing on heroin or say other painkillers. But you can give a person like 10, 20 Narcans, and if they've had too much fentanyl, you will still lose them. It's awful. That's a whole other area of activity our church is actually involved in, is drug education, because if somebody knows how dangerous it is, they're going to be much less likely to take that risk. But that's one of the big ones we're running into right now.
Perfect.
Totally.
So where are we now?
Okay, so this is like the other end of the information center. We actually have a whole television station called Scientology TV. It's available online, so anybody can watch it.
Oh, Scientology TV.
Yeah. But basically, again, a lot of people have questions, and one of the easiest ways they can get those answered is by watching our TV channel. So this is basically like you can sit and watch the TV channel here.
Okay, what do I need to do to become a Scientologist?
That's a great question.
Do I need to convert from my religion to Scientology? Do I need to give up my religion? If I'm Christian, I say, okay, I'm done with Christianity. I'm being Scientologist. Is this like this, or we can talk?
Yeah, I'll explain that. So Scientology basically is open to people of all religions, all religious faiths, beliefs, practices, etc. And it does not require any kind of conversion. So we welcome people here of every religion, because we have tools that people can take courses and things like that will help them in pretty much any area of life. And one thing that's really important to Scientology is that we do not want people to change their religious beliefs. And a person's religious beliefs are theirs. You know, what they believe in is very, very important, and their religious belief is very important. So we have people that are here, they are Muslim, and they also practice Scientology. We have people here who are Jewish, Christian, Buddhist, you name it, you'll run into them here.
Okay.
I myself am Episcopalian also.
What?
Episcopalian, it's a type of Christianity.
Anglican?
Oh, Anglican.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So the thing with Scientology is that it wants, like, as a religion, we want everyone to be able to achieve survival fully in all areas of their life, and that also includes their religious practice and their performance of that religion. So going back to your original question, if somebody, like, how do you become a Scientologist, so to speak?
Yeah.
A very simple definition of a Scientologist is somebody who practices Scientology, and they then say that I'm a Scientologist.
But, like being a Freemason,
Yeah.
They require some things, like you shouldn't have a bad history in your life, you shouldn't have stolen anything. Do you have like rules, like to become Scientologist? Do you have like
Right.
any obligations?
Right. Well, I will say, like, as a church, we do have a moral code that, you know, we want our members to follow. Now, let's say somebody walks in and they're like, I really want to learn about Scientology. I'd like to become one. I'd like to take your classes, etc. We say, great, and they're welcome. And then as we continue with the person, he's like, okay, I just need to confess, like, I have a lot of bad things that I've done. Okay, good. So then what we actually have is we actually have staff here, and their job is to work with a person like that to basically very specifically, like, okay, good, what did you do? And then help the person make good on that. If a person stole, good, help them make the money to pay the person back. If they had a hit and run, then okay, good, how are you going to make good on that? To help a person be able to live a more ethical life. Because we do, as you probably know, if somebody's living a very unethical life, they are not actually going to be surviving very well for themselves or their family or whatever. So we actually have tools that can help a person put their life right, so that they can expand and live a happier existence rather than one that maybe is filled with illegal activities or immoral ones.
How many believers do you have worldwide? Do you have like...
I can't give you a very specific number, but I know it does number in the millions. Part
Millions.
of it, yeah. Because, you know, you asked me that question of, like, who's a Scientologist? It's going to be anyone who says, well, you know, I read L. Ron Hubbard's teachings and I consider myself a Scientologist.
Yes, they don't have to be in the church as well.
Correct.
Yeah. Popular question.
Yeah.
Everybody knows, like in Turkey, most people know Scientology because of Tom Cruise. Okay?
That's understandable, yeah.
Yes, he's a very famous Hollywood actor.
Yeah.
And he doesn't age ever. He's always young.
Like amazing, actually.
Yes. And people think he doesn't age because of the Scientology. He's like, he has this
so like magical
right. stuff. But he ages. The guy who looks very young is a TikTok character, and he uses like AI, like artificial.
Oh, wow.
There is a TikTok person who uses AI. Looks like with the technology, he looks like Tom Cruise, and everybody thinks because he looks like 20 years old, and everybody thinks, oh, how does this guy? He gets
cool.
old
Yeah.
anyway. But does he come here? Like, can we see him now? Maybe he's like in the praying room, praying that I'm gone.
Right. So, well, yes, obviously everyone knows Tom Cruise is a Scientologist. He doesn't live here. He actually lives in Florida. So Tom Cruise, you know, he has his private life also, which, you know, his family, his religious practice and whatnot. So, obviously he practices Scientology, but it's not like, we make it so that he can do that without being interrupted because, you know, honestly, if I saw him, I'd be like, oh my gosh.
Did you see him
you know,
ever? No.
I saw him once at one event many years ago. Yeah. But you will not likely see him coming here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Maybe.
I mean, it'd be very cool. But
who knows? He's like walking out.
Right.
And he's asking for a sign from me.
Oh, yeah.
Autograph.
I'm sure he would want your autograph.
Yeah. He's probably following me now. So, that's cool. You have like other celebrities?
Probably the other big one that most people know is John Travolta.
John Travolta, yes.
Yeah, and he's been a Scientologist also for a very long time.
Yeah.
And one thing which is really cool, I will say, about both of them is that they've taken their celebrity status but then used it to help the community in a very large way. You know, we were talking about the psychiatric medications.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise actually spread the word about that several years ago, just utilizing the fact that, you know, when he talks, a lot of people listen, so we were able to get that word out
that's very good.
Largely, you know. He's also very, very much into literacy and helping kids be able to learn to read because he himself was dyslexic.
Oh, really?
When he was younger, and it was the study technology that L. Ron Hubbard developed. He learned that, and that was actually how he was able to overcome his dyslexia.
Wow.
And now, as you know, he is probably the most famous, most successful actor on the planet.
Yeah.
So that's another area.
He's actually not using stunts, you know? You call it stunts in English? Mm-hmm. Stunts. Still, like I was watching like a few weeks ago in the new movie set, he was flying himself, even though he's like 55, 60 years old.
Tom Cruise does all of his own movie stunts. He doesn't use stuntmen. It's incredible.
That's like
But I'll tell you what he
madness.
does, though, is he actually, with every area, because obviously those things are dangerous, he learns fully exactly how you do it. What are the mechanics and the physics and all the technology to do that stunt. So he's a full professional in any area. That's why he's able to do them.
That's madness. I saw one of the things he did like a few weeks ago. That was like, I couldn't believe it. How can you dare to do such a crazy thing?
I mean, he's obviously a very brave person too.
Yeah, but I mean, you're a Hollywood star as well. It's too much risk.
I mean, for him, it's life, you know?
I think, he likes adrenaline.
I don't know that I would do everything he does.
I mean, yesterday I went to Skid Row.
Yeah.
I walked into the crowds. I talked with them, I filmed them. Yeah. Let's go back to personality test. What is that?
Okay, so
how does it work?
This is a personality test.
Are you curious about yourself?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what it is, it's a test. There's 200 questions.
Okay.
So you can see page 1.
Oh, 200 questions.
200 questions. There's a second page.
Okay, so
I'll give you an idea. And so it's questions like, do you make thoughtless remarks or accusations which later you regret?
Okay.
An example.
Yes.
And then you say yes or you basically have 3 options. You can say yes or mostly yes, maybe, or no or mostly no. And you just answer all the questions like that. And then what it actually does is it creates a graph, which you can see. It's a little small there, and this will actually show you all your main personality traits based off of your answers. So this is everything like, how stable are you? How happy are you? Are you composed? Are you certain? Or are you nervous? Are you very active or inactive? And everything gets graphed like this. And then what we offer as a free service here is we have people trained in how you interpret these graphs. So someone can come in, they can take the test, and then they can get a personal evaluation to help them identify where are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, what are they maybe having trouble with in life, what can they do about it. And so someone can come in and take this. They can also take it home and then they can mail it in. Or it's really easy. They can do it online. There's a little QR code. Or they can go to Scientology.org/test. And you can do it online, which is actually the fastest way to do it. And then you'll get your graph right away. And then someone from whatever your closest Church of Scientology, you can schedule a consultation there. Okay.
The bridge to total freedom.
Yeah.
So I believe I'm in a total freedom because I'm traveling the world anywhere. But it's like in Scientology, what is the bridge to total freedom?
So the bridge to total freedom is talking about spiritual freedom and knowledge and enlightenment. So, as the goal is with anyone of any religion, through your study and through your practice of that religion, you would increase your spiritual knowledge, spiritual awareness, and your spiritual freedom. And in Scientology, there is this big chart, and it's called the Bridge to Total Freedom. And what it does is it actually lays out the path that if you are practicing Scientology, you would follow it step by step. So it gives the exact path that you would do that.
You see, there's a room here.
Yeah, I want to show you this actually.
The founder is L. Ron Hubbard, and
so basically,
this is not his room, right? This is
correct,
actually his room, but
obviously, as we know, he's not with us anymore.
Yes.
But basically, this came from a tradition.
Okay.
When he was, when the church was, in its early years, he was what was considered the executive director international. So that meant he was the administrative executive director of all the different churches. And he would travel a lot and check in on them and things like that. So every church would maintain an office for him so that when he came, he would have a place to work. So now we keep the tradition in every church. Internationally, there was always an office set aside for L. Ron Hubbard in honor of him and the legacy.
Is this exactly the same how he had the office, or just...
No, this is... I mean, we got this building after.
Okay, yeah, okay.
But what it does have is different tools that he would always have. Like, he would always have his pens and those things. So every office of L. Ron Hubbard will have those things.
What are those? They're like...
The binders, yeah.
What is that? They're not books, but are they like DVDs?
They're CDs, actually.
CDs, okay.
So we're talking about Mr. Hubbard wrote many books, right? He also gave many lectures.
Okay.
And so that is the full body of knowledge. That
they're the videos.
Most
Videos
of them are
him.
They're mostly recorded lectures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he like in the videos or just his voice?
It's just his voice.
Oh, okay, his voice. Okay, because he was doing those in 50s, right?
Yes, 50s and the 60s.
There was not so much videos. Yeah.
There is one set that is a video, which, and if you can see the one that has the little video thing
I can
there,
see.
those ones were videoed.
Yes.
But the rest of them are recorded lectures, like spoken.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So.
And obviously, we welcome new members of our team. So if someone's interested in working here, they can. They can contact arkadaşlar. Evet. Çalışmak istiyorsanız.
In Turkey, they will flow here.
They'll fly here to.
Do you need illegal workers or legal?
No, we do need legal workers.
Joking, I'm joking, yes.
Do you know, honestly though, like we have had people that want to work here but they don't have their papers yet.
Yeah.
And so we've actually helped them.
Oh yeah.
To get those papers.
Okay.
These are some of our administrative offices.
Okay.
I actually work in that one.
Okay, this one? It's a very big windows, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, we have personal consultants who work over here.
Okay.
So if people need consulting to figure out what's the next step they're going to do, they'll meet with some of the consultants there. And if somebody is coming to purchase books or lectures, this is the bookstore. This is our bookstore officer. And she's probably not interested in being videoed as well.
No, I can. Right, sir. Burası kitaplık. Bunlar Ron Hubbard'ın CD'leri, sesinin olduğu CD. How many lectures does he have? 1,000?
Nicole, do you know how many lectures Ron Hubbard gave total?
Can you hold on 1 second? Jules, hold on.
She's on the phone.
Okay. Oh, yeah, no problem.
How many lectures I'll actually give total? It's coordinated.
Over 3,000 lectures.
3000'in üzerinde.
So he gave over 3,000 lectures.
Yes. 3000 üzerinde anlatısı var. Wow. And you can buy any of them here?
That's right.
Yes. Bunların hepsini satın alabiliyorsunuz.
Turkish.
Oh my gosh.
Evet, bana kitap buldular. Diyanetik nasıl kullanılır? L. Ron Hubbard. Diyanetik bir maceradır. Terra incognita is a lost land, unknown land.
Yes.
In Latin, I know.
Yeah.
Terra incognita şey demek, kayıp ülke. Yani alnın 13 metre. Ne demek ki o? Arkasında bulunan, bugüne kadar bilinmeyen bir ülke olarak kalmış insan zihinlerine uzanan heyecan veren bir keşif yolculuğudur demiş. Bunu da Türkçe'ye çevirmişler. This is the DVD. So, you have a huge book with you.
Book.
So what is that?
So we were talking and you were asking me about some of the like religious practices and ceremonies of Scientology. So I grabbed this.
Okay.
So this is our background ministry, ceremonies and sermons book. So churches at Scientology are a little different than maybe other churches in that we're open 7 days a week from 9 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. Because one of the main activities people do is they come here and they take courses or they do the spiritual counseling. So that happens all throughout the week. But also on Sundays, we have our Sunday service, which is pretty traditional for churches. We also have weddings and baptisms, naming ceremonies. We will have funerals, services for those that have departed. But all of the ceremonies are in this really beautiful book, which I thought I could show you. And one question I remember you had was, what is a thetan?
Thetan, yes. What is a thetan?
So thetan is essentially the word for spirit. Okay. So that is the word that we use in Scientology for a spirit. Because, a person is not just their body, it's not just their mind, we're actually spiritual beings. And, in Scientology, we're looking at helping someone improve spiritually. So
we are all thetans.
That's right.
Or are we thetan, or do we have a thetan inside?
We are a thetan.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a little example, right?
Okay.
Okay, so, and everybody watching can do this too.
Okay.
Okay, so what I want you to do is to close your eyes and then get a mental picture of a cat.
Okay.
You got it? Can you see it?
Yeah.
You see the cat? Who's looking at the cat? That's you.
Yes.
So that kind of gives you a separation. You have your mental picture, that's your mind, but then you have you yourself as the spiritual being that is the one looking at that picture.
So that's the thetan looking at the
which is
cat, you say. Okay. You use the word church and you have a cross.
Yes.
Is there any relationship with Christianity? Do you have any relation with Christianity?
Yeah, I can definitely explain that too.
Okay.
So a cross as a symbol actually even predates Christianity by quite a long time, thousands of years. But it has a very specific symbology, which is why it is shared with so many religions. And I'll show you because I have one on the front of the book. I don't know if you can see it well.
Yes, I have seen, like with it
in the video it shows up okay?
Yeah, 8.
Yeah, so we have 8 points on ours. And one of the basic tools that we have in Scientology is something called the 8 dynamics.
Okay.
So a dynamic is like a thrust or a push towards something.
Okay.
And in this case, we're talking about a push towards survival. And it breaks down into 8 parts. You have the first, which is yourself, like surviving well as an individual. Then you have your second, which is surviving well as a family unit, like with your significant other or your children, like the survival as a family. Then you have groups. So survival as groups, like it be your friends or your coworkers or your sports teams, any kind of thing that's going to help the survival of that group. The fourth one, division, is mankind. So that's the survival as a species or as a race. After that, we have all living things. So now we're talking about the environment, plants and animals, things like that, and helping the survival of those. And then the 6th includes the physical universe. So that's matter, energy, space, and time. So that, taking care of our planet, not wasting resources, not polluting things. You could think of lots of examples. The 7th dynamic is the spiritual dynamic. So that's where religion comes in and the practice of religion and spiritual matters and things like that. And then the 8th dynamic is the supreme being or God, but the higher power. And in Scientology, as we are open to all religions, we don't dictate what that is because it is going to be different for any person depending on what their religious beliefs are. But it is the 8th dynamic is that higher power, spiritual being, whatever you call it.
For you, what is the supreme power?
For me personally?
No.
Oh.
For Scientology religion, is there like supreme being, like a God figure? What's his name?
Right.
What's her name, or what's its name?
In all honesty, it's going to be different for pretty much anyone you talk to.
Okay.
It's because when you talk about religion and religious belief, it's very personal for people.
Okay.
Scientologists included. And so what we do in Scientology is we study and we do the spiritual counseling and things like that. And it's basically through that progress, you'll become more enlightened spiritually and come to fully realize what that 8th dynamic is. Okay. But so everyone's, what everyone would state in terms of what that is for them is going to be a little bit different.
So I'm confused.
Mm-hmm.
you're saying I cannot understand because I'm not in that position of knowledge, or it's depending on me?
It's depending on you.
Okay, so you don't say there's X God. No, you don't ever say.
It depends on the individual person and their beliefs.
Okay, now I get it.
It kind of goes back to that question about like the conversion, or Scientology isn't a faith-based religion. It's based on knowledge. And what L. Ron Hubbard said is it's important for people to look and to learn. And if you read something, go put it into practice in life and see, does this work or does this not? Does it help or does it not? And that's really how all of Scientology was formed, is like what will actually work. But that's what people do when they come into Scientology, is like read one of the books, actually observe for yourself. Does that ring true for you? And can you use it in your life?
Does Scientology believe in reincarnation? Can we go back to the old planets where we used to live? So that's the question.
That is the question.
Yes.
Okay, so let me answer this question. And just to answer it, I'd like to kind of go back to Dianetics.
Okay.
And one of the principles of Dianetics and the mental therapy is if somebody has something traumatic that happened to them, it might be a later in life incident. Like maybe 2 years ago you were in a bad car accident, so that's traumatic. So let's say in the counseling you address that and maybe feel a bit better but not fully better. That means that there's earlier traumatic incidents in a chain. So when you do the counseling, you have to go back to the earliest incident on that chain, which will then release all of the negative emotion, negative physical impact, all of that. You have to find the basic, the first one, right? So when L. Ron Hubbard was doing this counseling on Dianetics, one thing which started happening is that people would remember an incident that was actually from a prior lifetime. And if he, aside from whether anyone believed it or not, the person he was counseling, he found he had to allow them to be counseled on that earlier incident. Otherwise, everything would bog and they wouldn't get the release that you were looking for. I found this is very interesting. So as more people started to use Dianetics, many more reports came in of people remembering lives that they had lived before. And also, as you're probably aware, many, many religions talk about having, people have lived multiple lives.
Like you say, people remember their previous lives?
Yeah.
And did they remember the similar things? Or like from the same?
Like two people might have both remembered knowing each other in the past, that kind of thing?
Yeah, maybe.
As an example. I think that has happened. Yeah. In terms of these kinds of things, what people go over in their spiritual counseling is very private for them, so they can choose whether or not they want to talk about it.
Yeah, of course.
But I think people have remembered all sorts of interesting things. I myself have. Okay. But again, I'll go back to what I was earlier saying. There isn't like you must believe in past lives. That's not part of it. If somebody does and it's real for them,
can you tell me about you want to share or no?
Yeah, let me just think.
Were you Princess of Scotland?
No, that would have been fun.
Because in Turkey, when you do this kind of things, not this kind of thing, but not as a religion, but you can go to as a psychic. Okay, they always tell you are the king, you are a knight, or you were a princess. Oh. Nobody is a worker in the mine.
Nobody was ever a peasant.
No, nobody was peasant in Middle Ages. You were a knight or a princess, or like a king or something. That's
awesome.
That's funny.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
So this lifetime, I had a very bad accident where I broke my ankle very badly.
Yes.
Couldn't walk on it, etc. So I was doing the spiritual counseling on that accident. And, we looked at what happened and what was going on in my life around that time and finding out what was upsetting and all of this stuff. So we cleaned it all up. And then it was like, okay, good. Well, have you had something earlier similar occur? So then I'm thinking, yeah, I've sprained my ankle so many times this life. Went all the way back to when I was really little. And then I started to remember injuries I had from previous lifetimes. And one example was I was riding a horse and I fell off, but my foot was still in the stirrup and it broke.
Okay.
Just as an example, so that was this injury.
Which years do you remember?
Like,
can you see it or just?
I mean, I could, but I don't remember at this point.
when you remember,
yeah.
Do you remember the whole everything? Like
what I
your name?
Was that some of those details and some not.
Okay. Yes.
What I did remember from it was the injury.
Okay.
And that I knew I was riding a horse and I fell off of it and injured my ankle because I fell off and the foot stayed in the stirrup. Yeah. And so we addressed that part of it. We're going to the chapel next.
Chapel.
We're going to take this doorway right here to go downstairs.
Okay. I open it for you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, arkadaşlar, chapel'e gidiyoruz. In Turkish it's chapel. Chapel.
Oh, it's the same word.
Yeah. But Christianity began in Turkey, in Middle East. So,
of course.
Yeah. So we have a lot of old churches. One of the first Christian nation was Armenians. Yeah. So they were also from Anatolia. Wow. Now this is
our chapel.
Chapel. So evet, burası Scientology'nin kilisesi. It's like the church of Scientology.
Yeah.
The building is huge, but the chapel is very small. This is where the lectures are. Mm-hmm. Like, do we have like priests?
We do.
Yeah.
Our ministers.
What do you call them? Ministers?
Ministers, yeah.
Not priests. Mm-mm. So they are knowledgeable guys.
Yeah, and they are ordained officially.
Yeah.
They have like the licensing and all of that.
Do you have like levels of these people, or like?
No, not the same way that you have, for example, in like the Catholic Church, where there's levels of.
So in Scientology, do you have like a system of levels? Like, for example, you are in the 5th level, but Janet is in the 12th level, or.
So with regards to like any kind of levels, right?
Yeah.
We've been talking a lot about the spiritual counseling.
Okay.
And someone who does that is very specifically trained, and there are levels of training that you do to do that. And so someone who is a minister of Scientology has done that training as a spiritual counselor.
Okay.
And then they have also done a full study of all of the major world religions. And that's required for them to become ordained. Okay,
so how many levels do you have? Do you have this?
There's 12 levels of spiritual counseling training that you can do. I'm a level 4. It's called a class. Class 4.
Has anyone reached 12?
Yes, absolutely. Many people.
Many people. Mm-hmm. Okay. And we were talking with you. What was that some people couldn't reach? Like.
OT 15.
Yeah.
What you say 12 levels?
He was asking that on the training levels.
Oh, I gotcha.
But I'm asking actually the other one.
On the other OT 15, which no one's reached yet. No one's gone that far.
Okay, so the other is the levels of spiritual counseling that you do.
Okay.
Okay, so then that goes up to 15.
Okay.
And no one's done that one yet because it's actually not released yet.
Okay. Who releases it?
Once a certain number of people have reached level 8, honestly, then the higher levels will begin to be released.
Some people are at level 8.
Many are at level 8.
Yeah, but no one is at level 9.
No.
Tom Cruise is going there?
I assume.
Yeah.
Let me go ask him.
Do you know how many level is he? Is he open or no?
I'm assuming he's level 8, but I don't really know.
8,
I don't know him personally.
Yeah. Okay.
So. Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Cruise is coming.
Oh my gosh! All these people are going to come here looking for him.
Yeah. So level 15 is the highest you can get.
15. Yes.
What happens if you go to level 15? You go like you reach nirvana. You go like you become a supreme being, or what?
I think that we're talking about people being spiritual beings. And when you do the Scientology counseling, as you go level by level, you take away stuff that isn't actually you, and you start regaining yourself.
Okay.
Yourself as a spiritual being. And so you do that step by step as you go. So due to the fact that it's not released yet, I can't tell you what will happen at that point.
Yes.
But that's the general progression of it.
Does a machine tell you which level you are, or... No, just
you'll have actually gone through the steps of it. It's all very delineated.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Can we say you're going back to yourself step by step.
Yeah.
And the 15, you're a pure human.
Probably
maybe.
purely. I
Pure.
mean, we could assume that.
Yes.
Like I said, we don't. None of us
Yes.
really know.
No, I'm trying to understand. That's why. So you have this. One day we can fully trust each other. There will be peace on earth.
Yes.
Birbirimize tamamen inandığımız zaman dünyada barış olacak diyor. I'm translating to
Yes,
Turkish
yeah.
the words. So this is the statue of.
This is L. Hubbard.
Yeah.
We always have a bust of him, just
Yeah.
as a representation
Üstü.
in every chapel.
And-
And then we have some of the different basics of the original. Like this is the code of a Scientologist.
20.
20 different points.
So this is the symbol for.
We were talking about Thetan being the symbol
Okay.
of a spiritual being. So that's Theta, which is like your spiritual energy
Yes.
or life. And then we were talking about these higher levels of spiritual
Okay.
counseling, which helps one become an operating Thetan. And so that basically means you become knowing and willing cause over life, thought, matter, energy, space, and time.
Perfect. And triangles.
Yeah, so these are also some of the basic tools, actually, in Scientology, and they're very cool. And let's start with this one, and I'll come around this one. So this is called the ARC triangle. It stands for affinity, reality, and communication. And if you have these 3 points in with somebody, you'll bring about understanding. So a good example is what we're doing right now with this interview and with the tour.
Yeah.
We're showing people what Scientology is about, and we're talking about it. And so that people are going to say, oh, wow, Scientology is pretty cool. So now we have a better understanding of
Yeah.
what it is. So this is a tool you can use in life. Like you could use it in business. If you need to close a business deal, you can, what is your prospective client's reality, and you communicate with him about that. You raise the affinity with them. You raise the understanding, you might get a better close on that. Or if you're trying to like ask a girl out, you know, find out what she likes, and then have, you know, a good affinity, a likingness for her, and talk to her, your understanding is going to come up between the two of you, and she'll be more likely to say yes. So this is kind of like a basic tool that we use in Scientology. So if you come over to this one, this is a second triangle. And this one is called KRC, stands for knowledge, responsibility, and control. So for this one, it basically is the idea if there's something that, if you're going to actually be responsible for something, or you need to be able to control something, like as an executive or anyone who has to work with people. And when I say control, I'm not talking about the like, you must do this and that kind of thing. I'm talking more like, how do you work in cohesion and work well with other people to actually like achieve goals, and knowledge. So this works the same way. To increase any of these points, you have to raise them all. So if, let's say you take on a new job, you need to be responsible for it. Well, you need to learn about it. So you need to learn what are the functions, what are you supposed to do? You do that and you start putting that into action. Your control of your area and your job will come up, and you'll be able to be responsible for it. So that's another triangle, and that's how those points work together.
Perfect. Do you believe in, like in Scientology, what happens? I believe in Scientology, let's say I died. What's going to happen? I'm going to go to hell or heaven? Or do you have this kind of concepts?
We do have those kinds of concepts.
Yeah.
It does, again, go back to what a person's personal religious beliefs are. But for an individual who has, like said, remembered past lives, like I'm one of those, and be like, okay, good, well, I know when this life ends for me, I will start another one after that.
Okay.
Whereas somebody else, like, so let's say, they may be like, no, Nirvana is where I'm going to go, or
Okay,
heaven, etc. You know, it just depends on what their belief is.
Understood. Perfect.
Yeah.
I think they're all my questions. You answered very well. Yeah.
No, we got the end of it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You've been fantastic.
It's been awesome doing this.
I learned a lot,
Yeah.
and I think people will learn. And thank you very much
Okay,
for
you're welcome.
helping me out. Hopefully, we will see you both in Turkey as well.
That would be so fun. That would be really fun.
We have really good food.
Oh
The
my
best
gosh.
food in the world.
That's good.
Yes, the Turkish food is the best, and we have amazing history and amazing Istanbul,
Yeah.
like the beautiful city
That's wonderful.
you would love. And thank you so much. Evet, Scientology Kilisesi'nden de çıktık. Ya inanılmaz kibar ve tatlı insanlar. Benim herhangi bir dini görüşüm yok arkadaşlar. Gittiğim ülkelerde biliyorsunuz hep enteresan tarikatları, dinleri ya da atıyorum Meksika'da Müslüman olmuş yerlileri bulmaya çalışıyorum, size göstermeye çalışıyorum. Çok tatlı insanlardı. Bana sorarsanız ben bu dini kabul eder miyim? Etmem. Benim herhangi bir inancım yok. Sizin de etmeniz için bunu çekmedim sonuçta. Sadece bilin istedim. Böyle bir din, inanış, artık ne derseniz deyin, böyle bir inanış var. Kendinize iyi bakın. Görüşürüz. Görüşürüz.